Well, thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to start off with thanking the incredible team behind me. All the stakeholders in Ontario Core. We have Global Medics behind us. We have Rubicon and Georgian Bay Search and Rescue champions, our first responders, our fire, our police, our paramedics. Just been an incredible team, pulling everyone together, and all the emergency management folks as well. I just want to thank them. This was a huge undertaking. It still is. The last numbers I've checked have reconnected over 800,000 homes. So if you multiply that by two or three people, that's a lot of people. We still have a long ways to go, making sure that we make it safe to get in there and cut the trees that are half fallen over, to make sure that we do it safely. That's the number one priority. I've been getting calls, as I was just telling the folks behind me, for the last few days, I'm not exaggerating, about every 15 seconds, all day, all night. And it breaks your heart when you get a text message from someone saying, I have 5 in our family, 3 kids, and they're all huddling under 4 blankets. You want to go out there immediately and try to help everyone. But we can't do it alone. And again, I want to thank everyone. Group, I want to thank. They're out there, the hydro line people from Hydro 1. What an incredible job you're doing out there. Number one, it's a very dangerous job. But number two, they're out there no matter what the weather is, slugging it out, trying to get the electricity on, as well as our partners from New Brunswick and Quebec Hydro, Saskatchewan Hydro. I've contacted all the premiers with Premier Holtz from New Brunswick yesterday, and I said, thank the troops. We'll get them out right away. So this is really not just Team Ontario, but Team Canada stepping it up for our neighbors. So we're very, very grateful. We're going to keep going around the clock until we get everyone up and running. I want to apologize to the people that I have not been able to get back to. That weighs on me more than anything. I was just showing the folks I have 4,981 messages that I got to get back to. I'm not ignoring you. It's just that the volume's coming in. It's like drinking from a fire hose. But that weighs on me the most. But we're there to support you. We're doing wellness checks door to door to door, which is important as well. We've put up warming centers. We've handed out over 3,000 meals. So the job, and I'm only telling you one fraction, the job is enormous. But again, Team Ontario, hard at work. Everyone is working. I also want to thank Chief Williams from RAMA for everything that you're doing, Chief. What a great partner he is. And I just feel bad. I'm not naming everyone, but everyone is part of Team Ontario. So I'll take questions now.
We will go to reporters for questions. Reporters, please identify yourselves by name and outlet. Can all the reporters line up at the mic behind me? And it'll be one question, one follow-up. First question.
Hello, Premier Ford. My name's Giselle Winton-Sarvis. I'm with Orillia Matters.
Yes, Giselle.
I understand that all the crews have been working hard, but we are 6 days into this, and there's about 4,000 people in Orillia and 15,000 in the surrounding townships that still don't have power. Do you think that that's satisfactory?
Well, you know something, when you say it's satisfactory, they're going around the clock. I wish we had a little button we could switch on. I've talked to the people from Oro-Medonte. I've talked to people from Orillia and everything in between across the province. We've asked Hydro 1 to surge certain areas that we see the numbers are the highest to bring them down. But we've never seen this. Even 25 years ago, we had that ice storm. My opinion, this is 10 times worse than it was 25 years ago because of the damage. But I can assure you we're working around the clock to get people's power up. And when I do talk to the people, I guess the biggest challenge is communication. I understand they're getting a notice, it's at 3 o'clock, whatever, tomorrow. Then it changes and it changes and it changes. It's something that we don't like doing. I know Hydro 1 doesn't like doing, but that's how it's rolling out. Is there things that we can sit down after this and come up with new ideas, be it technology and drones and texting, cell phones. Yes, there is. And we have to look at continuous improvement all the time to improve on our response. But, you know, these people are working hard, really, really hard.
As a follow-up then,
Yes.
with the last election, I think you just started a new department, the Ministry of Emergency Preparedness.
Yes.
Is that a timely decision to make that a full ministry?
100%. This is a perfect example. You look at everything we've went through just over the last 4 or 5 years, from flooding, from tornadoes to hurricanes to the pandemic to wildfires that happen every single year. My big concern, and obviously the ice storm, my big concern right now is flooding. You know, we had a tremendous amount of snowfall, and we have to be prepared. And with the Ontario Corps, we just started. We're just getting it up and running. But maybe I could have the minister and Bernie as well just give you a little background to say where we're at today and where we're going to be hopefully by next year, with building thousands and thousands of volunteers and working with other organizations that I mentioned earlier on, Georgian Bay Search and Rescue or Global Medics or Rubicon, and bringing even Salvation Army out there making meals and helping the workers. But Joe, Bernie?
Well, thank you, Premier. Bernie's over here, but thank you for your confidence in appointing me the new Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response. And yes, what a time. And also to be the local MPP. So living this, like all of my residents, I too am without power. So I understand the frustration that everybody has been dealing with. But as the Premier said, our Ontario Corps has been deployed. We have boots on the ground. There was 5,000 volunteer hours in the past couple of days. We have our teams out here doing wellness checks, checking in on individuals, letting them know what supports are out there for them in the communities. We have our team Rubicon who are out with chainsaws, help cleaning up yards. We have our attached group that are doing mental health checks as well. So many supports that are out there, as well as the additional hydro workers that are being brought into the province. But I'll turn it over to my deputy to talk about the new headquarters. I know the Premier is very excited about that. Will be instrumental to our preparedness. And I want to also thank all of our mayors here who have been impacted by the ice storm. I have had the opportunity to tour not only my own area, but up to Muskoka, over to Peterborough. So the devastation is widespread, and everyone is very impacted. So I'll hand over to Deputy.
Yeah, I just want to introduce the deputy. Rarely do you ever see a deputy come up, but Bernie's special. You know, he served and he was in charge of 16 countries with General Hillier over in Afghanistan. Talk about coordinating troops, coordinating areas. You couldn't ask for anyone better than Bernie. He's been instrumental in standing up the Ontario Corps. Again, we're just starting, and we encourage everyone to sign up and be a volunteer at the Ontario Corps. You can be as young as 16 and as old as 90 years old. You can go into some of these community centers and you see a lot of seniors making sandwiches and prepping food, and young people, they can fill sandbags and everything else and everything in between. So I'll pass it over to you, Bernie.
Premier, thank you so much, and Minister Dunlop, all the elected officials, everybody. And I just want to share that it's inspiring to be able to be part of something that is simply put, it's Ontarians helping Ontarians. And really, we put up this Ontario Corps. We've got volunteers. You've seen them all here today. And it goes beyond that, folks. It's neighbors helping neighbors. And really, the mission of Emergency Management Ontario, this is a great logo, great motto. It's a safe, practice, prepared Ontario. That's not just in disasters. That's preparing. That's training. Our team's been able over the last 2 years to train over 40,000 Ontarians in basic emergency management. Over 200 exercises to prepare for flooding, to prepare for windstorms, to prepare for events like this. This was significant. As the Premier and Minister have said, 1998 has been likened to today, or this last week. I was part of the 1998 mission, rolling that out as a former soldier representing Canada. We were brought to bear to bring assistance. This one, again, a lot of devastation. It's a gigantic geographical area, but I've got to thank Hydro, I've got to thank neighbors, I've got to thank every single first responder. Staff, we've got Parks and Rec staff. You're going to go up to see the warming center shortly. Parks and Rec staff Lifeguards helping inside a warming center. Folks, this has been an extraordinary effort. And yes, we've got a few more things to do. There's a few more houses to hook up with electricity, but there's a lot of good that's been going on. And Emergency Management Ontario is simply the coordinating body, the group that's assigned when these times come, working with Simcoe County. Grant from Simcoe County, your emergency management preparedness managers overseeing these things. We augment, we support. And I think that's the future of this. The Ontario Corps is the future, working together with all sorts of entities, focusing coordinated efforts to bring that safety to those folks that we care for the most, and that's Ontarians. So thank you very much, Premier and Minister, for this opportunity.
Premier report, I'm John Edwards with Simcoe.com. I spoke with a woman this week who's been without power for 6 days, and she mentioned how difficult it is to be without power, lose all that food, obviously, and try to make ends meet in general. To the people and the businesses, maybe who've missed work and not been able to open up, what kind of support can they expect from your government?
Well, under emergency management and the state of emergency that the communities declared, we're supporting the communities. Unfortunately, on each individual house, that's going to have to go through their insurance. I will be speaking to the Insurance Bureau of Canada to make sure they aren't being punished if they make a claim, and all of a sudden next time their insurance rates get jacked up. We'll support them there, but we can support people right now if they need any product. It doesn't matter if it's toothbrushes or food. If you need that, water, we'll make sure we get it delivered right to your door.
Hi, Lorenda Reddicock with CBC News.
Lorenda.
Hi. I'm not sure if this one is you or somebody else. I know it's all a work in progress, but if somebody can give a sense of when you do expect that everybody will have their power back on.
Well, I'll pass it to the Minister of Energy. I know they're working around the clock. Is David here, CEO? Oh, David, why don't you come on up? At the end of the day, I hate to say it, the buck stops with me, but the second buck stops with David. And by the way, we've been messaging at 11:30 at night. I've been sending David some of these messages, one or two of them, just till he sees the pain people are feeling. And it becomes personal, right? It becomes personal to yourselves, and I know it's become personal with David and Minister Lecce, if you want to come up here as well. But go ahead, David.
If you can say your full name, please.
Thank you, Premier. David Liebeter, CEO of Hydro One. First thing I'd like to say is we feel terrible for the people that have gone so long without power. We know how hard it is when your electricity service isn't operating, especially if you're in a smaller community, you're relying on a sump pump or a well. This is a really challenging time. We've got over 4,000 people on the ground today working to restore people. We're bringing in more today again. We've restored over a million, sorry to correct you, Premier, over 1 million customers now. So 2.5 million people have been restored. We're down to, when I looked this morning, 150,000 customers without power. We hope to be below 70,000 at the end of the day today, of which those 37,000 are seasonal homes. So we're well on the way to having this wrapped up. There will be some people that are going to go into next week. Small rural people or communities or homes down isolated roads. It's going to take a long time, but we hope to have 98% of the people back by the end of this weekend. And we're going to stay on this till everybody's restored and all the damage is fully repaired.
Do you speak French at all?
No, I don't, sorry.
This is the worst storm we've seen in the province in 20 years, and it is with roughly 90% of power back on. This is a credit to the roughly 4,000 energy workers, hydro linesmen, everyone from across the country who've been called in to help. Our Premier has leveraged resources from New Brunswick as far away as Saskatchewan. Hydro-Quebec has been an amazing value add. They're on the ground as we speak. 1,200 resources in Orillia alone. Almost a quarter of all of our resources are in this surrounding community as we speak. We know how important it is to connect power. It's the fundamental basics. And I want to assure the families of Ontario that the Premier has been very clear to David, to Jill, to myself, to all of us, mayors, Indigenous leaders, first responders, work around the clock to get power back on. And that's our commitment to you today. We're physically here to make, I think, signal gratitude to the workers, but also a commitment to see this through the last mile. And David has mentioned we're going to make a ton of progress, like literally overnight, 4% more, thousands more were added back to power. So we're going to keep the pressure on and keep working together to get power back on for every single Ontarian.
Follow up on a different theme. Premier, I know that you said that Caroline Mulrooney reached out before she endorsed Pierre Poilievre. Previously, you had talked about how you expected people would be too busy. We have seen as well some of your caucus members out with Conservative candidates. Do you have any sort of rule? Like, do you want people reaching out before if they're members of your caucus or cabinet?
No, I've mentioned it. Use your discretion. Number one priority is Ontario. It's not the federal election, it's Ontario. If you want to do something on your own time, I don't dictate to my team what to do or where to go. That's going to be strictly up to them. But make sure we take care of your riding, make sure you take care of your ministry, make sure you take care of the people of Ontario. That's the number one priority. What they want to do, that's their choice.
Good morning, Premier. Fatima Syed with the Narwhal. You've created a standalone ministry for emergency preparedness in this cabinet, which I recognize. We're also seeing extreme weather events increase, fueled by climate change, a lot more in recent years. What else will the new government be tackling when it comes to adapting and better responding to these kind of extreme events?
Well, we have lowest emission rates in the world. We're 90% clean energy. And once we do the refurbishment of Darlington and eventually Pickering, we're going to have 94, 96. Our goal is to hit 100%. But we're going to be there to make sure that it's not one extreme the other. And I always say you can be focused on reducing emissions, reduce pollution, and create economic development at the same time. You don't have to be an extremist on one side and say, cut off everything. If you actually look at our environmental record, I'll put our record against any government in the history of this province. We put billions and billions of dollars to build the largest transit system in North America to get people out of cars into the transit. Ontario line alone will take 240,000 cars. We've switched over. You go down to Hamilton and you see the big smokestacks. You aren't going to see the smoke coming out because we're changing a coal-fired furnace over at Dofasco and doing an electric arc furnace, and the same as Algoma. That's like taking 2 million cars off the road and creating economic development at the same time. We put billions and billions into electric vehicles. So just those three, not to mention everything else that we've done, is going to make a massive difference. But I always say we can be environmentally conscious and create economic development and growth at the exact same time.
I recognize that, but those are long-term projects as well, right? In the interim, your government is also increasing natural gas, which is scientifically linked to fueling climate change and leading to more extreme weather events. I'm wondering if dealing with these floods and this ice storm in specific is reframing or making you rethink your plans with natural gas.
Well, I'm going to bring my minister up again, Stephen Lecce. But we're leaders in nuclear energy, clean, green, affordable energy. We're building the small modular reactors as well. But it's a combination of everything, and they have to be cost effective. So I'll let Minister Lecce take it from here, but we're going to look at all forms of energy.
Ontario has one of the cleanest energy grids on Earth. Roughly 90% of our emissions are non-emitting. Because of our government's commitments to pursuing nuclear expansion, non-emitting, clean, affordable nuclear power, we are going to get to near net zero without a carbon tax. I want you to think about this. Through technology and innovation, by working with industry, as opposed to taxing families and seniors, we're going to achieve the same objective using technology, not taxation. And that's the Premier's vision for the province. I mean, don't discount the power of nuclear today. The equivalent of 80 million tons of GHGs are removed from the air. That's 15 million cars off the road today, not in 20 years, like in the current context. So we are proud of our investments in clean power. We're leading the largest a clean storage fleet on the country, 3,000 megawatts of power, the third largest in the continent. And so these types of initiatives are going to drive down emissions while driving up our competitiveness when we're up against President Trump. And I think the best thing we can do is to ensure our energy is affordable for our industry, who are taking haircuts, and many of them are laying off people. So affordable energy has got to be our priority, clean too, and that's why we're going to use every technology, and frankly, technology agnostic. Any available resource that keeps power on and bills down is the right way to go.
Good afternoon. John Sports from Southern Line, Orillia.
Hi.
You mentioned about insurance companies earlier. Unfortunately, unless the tree limb damages your house or lands on your car, insurance isn't going to pay anything. And I'm aware of several people that have quotes to clean up their yards that are running into thousands of dollars with tree limbs that are too big for them to move themselves, have to be cut up and hauled out. Is there any consideration that there might be some kind of financial emergency relief fund for people that have to spend a lot of money to get their yards cleaned up and made safe again? That's not counting the limbs that are still hanging in the trees.
I understand, and we'll have to get back to you on that, but right now, I know insurance, and I totally agree with you, they cover the vehicles or cover the homes, but we'll have to take a look at the other situation as well. But be careful out there. I've heard a couple of people, one seriously got injured, trying to take down these trees. Please, if you're on a professional, stay off the roof, talk to Sunnybrook. The number one incident are men, for the most part, falling off roofs and ladders. So please let a professional get up on your roof.
And my second question is kind of related. A lot of people lost the entire contents of their freezers, several $100s worth of food. And it's no secret in Orillia that the majority of the population is just making ends meet. Is there any kind of relief for people that had to throw out that much food to be able to replace it?
You know, I feel terrible when you ask me that, because I want to give everyone free food. I want to help everyone. But the reality is, Mother Nature wasn't too kind to us. And these are some of the things that come along once every 20 years. And I know we're going to stock up the food banks and support them that way. We're spending tens of millions of dollars on food banks, and we'll support them that way.
Hi, Premier. Michelle Mackey from City News.
Hi, Michelle.
Is it too soon to know the cost of this disaster? Are we talking millions? Do you have any early estimates?
Yeah, I don't have early estimates, but it'd be in the hundreds of millions, if not a billion, if you add up every single item. Like this goes as far as Kingston, all the way across the northern part of the GTA, Simcoe County, obviously, as far up to almost Huntsville, Bracebridge area has been hit, Perry Sound. So it's a massive area, absolutely massive.
And I mean, just hearing from Ontarians, is there one need in particular that's coming up time and time again? What do people need most right now? Confirmation,
Communication. They understand the situation we're in, and everyone was so polite when I called back, and they need to know when their power is getting on. That's what they need to know. That's the end of. At the end, they need the date. And I know it's very hard for Hydro to peg that bang on, but they're going around the clock to get this done.
This will be the last reporter.
Hi, Premier. Beatrice Faisman, CP24.
Yes.
I want to ask you about tariffs. The New York Times right now reporting that General Motors is confirming that it's going to increase production at its plant in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to focus more so on Silverados, the only vehicle that the GM plant in Oshawa produces right now. What does that mean for the future of the Oshawa plant and those workers there? What do you say to them?
Well, we're going to keep fighting these tariffs. Very clear message with President Trump. These parts go back and forth across the border 7-8 times. One of these part companies go down and will shut assembly lines down on both sides of the border. We buy 400% more cars in Mexico. The difference is, on the USMCA deal, they said they were going to pay their workers $16 an hour. They're paying them $6 an hour. So they don't care about these tariffs. We pay fair wages up here. I support our uniform members and non-members as well, no matter if it's Toyota or Honda, and I know Ford's retooling, but they're continuing on construction. General Motors as well, and and Stellantis. We're going to support our workers. We're going to protect our workers, but we buy as many cars as we sell. It's this whole tariff nonsense with Canada is the craziest thing I've ever seen. You take out the crude oil, the Americans have a $56 billion surplus. We're doing $500 billion of two-way trade. Would be the third largest trading partner in the world with the United States, the number one customer to 17 states, and number two to 11 others. I want to thank Senator Collins and Senator McConnell and Senator Rand for actually standing up, Republicans standing up and voting against the president, and there was one more senator that I just blanked out on, standing up and saying, you want to drive our country into a recession. We see the market tumbling trillions of dollars, unprecedented. Consumer confidence is down all throughout the United States, and investment is stalled, and Americans are going to lose their jobs. It's not Liberation Day. It was called Termination Day, because Americans will be terminated. You just don't ignore and attack. Your number one customer in the world is Canada. We need to work together, and this administration just maybe doesn't believe in working together, but we're going to continue making sure that we communicate with Secretary Lutnick, with the President, and continue moving forward. We're strong, we're resilient, but we have two choices here, folks. We either roll over and let this guy run us over with a cement truck 15 times because they don't care about us, or we get up and fight like we've never fought before. I believe in the latter. We need to fight, continue fighting, and make sure that Americans feel the pain. And I hate saying that. It's not the American people. It's one person. That's President Trump. So I talk to endless Americans and Republican elected officials, be it Congress or senators or governors. I've yet to find one person that says, yeah, let's go economically attack our greatest neighbors and allies we've had for 200 years. But we're gonna keep going, and hopefully we can get through this. The positive news: we weren't on the list the other day, so let's move from there, because it will hurt American workers. I will guarantee it.
This will be the final question.
My follow-up, Premier, give us an insight, I guess, into the conversations you've had with the mayors of both Windsor and Oshawa, where these, auto workers live, work, spend their money. Because as far as we've heard, the unions have told these workers, hold on to your money, because we don't know if you're going to have a job essentially 2 weeks from now once these temporary layoffs end. It's going to have a ripple effect on those cities.
Yeah, well, Mayor Dilkins and Mayor Carter, Windsor, Oshawa, phenomenal mayors. We're going to be there to protect them. And if the worst case scenario happens, then we're going to retrain them. We're going to pour money. We're moving up infrastructure, as I've mentioned to our Minister of Infrastructure. Let's start pushing all the infrastructure forward. We're spending over $222 billion on infrastructure. It goes all the way back to the Depression in the 30s. How do you get people back on their feet? Build highways and roads. Build the mines up north, our critical minerals. We have more than anywhere in the world. Let's continue building the hospitals. We're spending $50 billion. And we're right here in Orillia too. They're getting a new hospital. But all these projects, let's move them forward. But do you know what delays everything in housing? Is the red tape, the bureaucracy that you have to get through. So folks, we're cutting through the red tape, cutting through the bureaucracy, working collaboratively with communities and regions and cities. Let's not take 3 or 4 years to get a permit. Let's not put the barriers up because there's a grasshopper in a field and everyone has to stop and wait for that grasshopper. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. We're moving forward. We're going to build. We're going to be environmentally conscious. We're always going to be, especially up north, consult with our First Nations partners, which are absolutely incredible to work with, because, and I know Chief Williams agrees, They want prosperity for their community. They want jobs for their community. They want growth. And especially way up north, they need energy. They need healthcare. They need food that's not flowing in or diesel coming in. We're going to bring them electricity up there. That's what the province wants. 16 million hardy, mighty people, hardworking people, and there's no one that can stop us as we work together.
This concludes today's media availability.
Thank you. Thank you.